Now, I am from Washington State, and I have been living in Canada and British Columbia for the last 10 years. And in Washington and many parts of the US, you call this a beanie, which is not a solely American term. And of course, in other parts of the US, this is called something different. And up here in Canada, almost everybody calls this a toque. In general, toque is a very Canadian term. Why? Why did the term toque get picked up in Canada, and why did the term beanie get picked up in the US? Let's start with beanie. So it turns out we don't really know for sure where the term beanie came from, and there are a few theories. Some people think it comes from hats like this that have a little fabric-covered button at the top, and it's roughly the size of a bean, so they think it might come from that. Some people think it derives from a word for a cap that was worn in universities in medieval times that was called a bejaunis or bejanus. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but eventually they think bejaunis turned into beanus, and then that could have turned into beanie over time. And what I personally think seems the most likely is the theory that it comes from a slang term for head, which would be bean. So it makes sense that if you called a head a bean at some point in time that you could put a beanie on your head. And it seems like the word beanie in referring to this type of hat didn't really become popular until the 1950s. And it might be because of a cartoon character that wore a hat like this with a propeller on it, who went by the name Beanie. Now my Canadian friends are proud to call this puppy a toque. And the word toque is French Canadian. Some people think it actually originally comes from an old Spanish word toque, which was a tight-fitting cap worn about 500 years ago. Now in other parts of the world, a toque is typically a chef's toque, which is just a chef's hat. It looks like the word toque first started being used in about 1870, or at least that's the first time we see it in writing. So as for why Canadians picked up the word toque for this type of hat and Americans didn't, is because of the French influence in Canada and the French Canadians that we have. So tell me, what do you call a knitted cap like this? Do you call it a toque, or do you call it a beanie, or do you call it something totally different? I would love to know. I grew up calling this a beanie, but since I've been in Canada for 10 years and I kind of like the word a little bit better, I have definitely started using toque. Now, I love Canada and the United States, and I love thinking about the differences that I've learned since I moved to Canada, so I'm going to be making more short videos like this about why something became different in Canada than it is in the United States. So if that's of interest to you, you're probably going to want to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will toque to you later.